now I'm going to be talking about, of course, the Marvel Legends Cable. And this is the uh, Hasbro version. And so let's get right into his first appearance. Is, of course, New Mutants number 87 back in 1990. And in it, he takes over the New Mutants have sort of been abandoned by the X-Men, and so he kind of takes over as their leader slash trainer, and he really has his own motives as to why he does this. So anyway, he starts off as well, of course, a little baby, like everybody starts off. But he is actually the son of Cyclops and Madeline Pryor. Okay, and he was infected with a techno-organic virus by Mr. Sinister, and in order to save his life, he was taken into the future, okay, where he was actually cloned to see if their little surgery that they were going to do didn't work. They were going to still have the clone to play around with, I guess. Well, anyway, that clone eventually was taken by Apocalypse and became Strife. But so anyway, whatever they did, it kind of worked. And he is raised by the Ascani, which are descendants of Rachel, a time-tossed Rachel Summers. More on that in another review. And she actually brings both Jean Grey and Cyclops into the future, their minds only, to help raise him. Well, he grows up, and of course, the world is ruled by Apocalypse, and somehow he gains control of the computer from the sentient ship of Apocalypse had in the, well, I say our times, but the 80s X Factor, and he renames it Professor. And he's able to travel through time using the computer and its the base that they create, and he goes back and forth through time to try and prevent Apocalypse from taking over. And to do that, he comes against Strife, who is doing the same thing but from an opposite way to ensure that Apocalypse takes over. And he runs into Strife's team of mutants called the Mutant Liberation Front, and decides to use the New Mutants as his soldiers, calling them X-Force. And now this time, the New Mutants were in limbo because the X-Men were thought to be dead, and Professor X was off the Earth, and Magneto, who was supposed to have taken over training the Skull, was off doing his own thing, and so they hook up with him, and they're glad to have like an adult leader, and they turn into a more militant sort of group than they were. Going out and doing instead of waiting for stuff to happen to them. Now, he kind of fades out in and out for a while, um, but he makes a big comeback in the Cable Deadpool series, which is a great series. If you can find the trades or the individual issues, go pick them up. They're funny, and he's teamed with Deadpool. They make a great sort of odd couple comedy team. And he also makes he's got a pretty big gig going right now in that spinning out of Messiah Complex, which was an X-Men crossover. He is right now raising the first mutant to be born since the Scarlet Witch said no more mutants, and a bunch of mutants lost their powers, and no mutants have been born till this baby. So he's protecting that baby from Bishop, and they're basically on the run. And he's got a great series on his own. Now, for his powers, he has got telekinesis and telepathy, just like his mother, Jean Grey. Or, I'm sorry, the clone of Jean Grey. So, he, however, is not able to fully use his TK abilities at points in time because he uses them to control the techno-organic virus, which you notice his arm is metal. If he does not use his powers to keep the virus in check, it will overcome him, and he will no longer be Cable anymore, just a techno-organic being. Into the figure. We're going to get through this pretty quickly. Nice sculpt. You can see his scar, and he's got a replacement bionic eye. Again, because of the techno-organic virus. And he's got nice straps. Not too many. This is not the bulky Rob Liefeld Cable. This is a very slimmed down version, and I must say I like it. Now he comes with two of these guns, and they fit very well into his hands, and they have the trigger finger fits into the trigger. It doesn't really fit in as well, but kind of just hangs in there loosely. It's easy to knock out. I usually only keep him with one gun. And it's a real nice slim version, kind of like his. I would say it's most like his appearance in Cable Deadpool, and that's why I like it. It looks really good next to the Deadpool figure. So I think that's all I have to say about good old Cable. Do I suggest getting him? If you're into Cable Deadpool, then that particular series, then yes. If you're more of the old school Cable fan from X-Force, I would say get the Toy Biz version, which is the bulkier Liefeld-ish, heavy on the guns version.